Western citizens, now they are migrating to quote-unquote third world countries. Today we are going to discuss. So today we are going to answer the question if Western citizens, US citizens, Canadians, Europeans, what have you, are migrating to undeveloped nations, Latin America, Southeast Asia, places like that. And the answer is yes. Now, why they are doing that? Well, that's what we are going to answer today. So let's start. Well, there are several factors of why this particular phenomenon is happening. The first one is, of course, economics. The reason why people from, let's say, wealthy countries are migrating to quote-unquote poor countries is simple, is the cost of living. In those countries, the cost of living is actually way lower. And the funny thing, though, is that not only is lower, is that cents on the dollar compared to a developed country, especially like the United States, these particular countries have you can get a luxurious life, a top-notch standard of living. Regarding, of course, you cover healthcare, that's a big deal in the US. Housing, you get nice housing. You get, of course, the food. The food many times compared, at least with the US, is better, is more organic, not this microwave, thing that you have in the US. Nothing against that. But overall, you have more experience. You can pay more for more experience, for more luxury, for way more amenities that you don't have. And things that you consider luxurious actually are middle class amenities in many places. Like, for instance, in Latin America, you can hire a cleaning lady, you can hire a nanny, you can hire a driver if you want to, something like that. And it's going to cost you, it's not going to break the bank. And actually, you are creating a job in those countries. So it's a win-win. And also, you can have more space, you can have more experiences, more amenities. And if you are a single man, you have a way better dating market. I mean, it's orders of magnitude better, the dating market, if you go abroad as an American citizen or as a European citizen. Of course, depends on your income threshold. Now, of course, in order to get the income that you require in order to have a good cost of living in, let's say, Latin America, just for the sake of the conversation. Now, it's not dirt cheap because many people think that it's dirt cheap, and it's not the case. Usually, the locals, let's say the average local, the lower middle class local, has a financial threshold in order to cover what they consider a middle class standard of living. In order to get, let's say, a US middle class standard of living, usually it's going to cost 2x, 3x in order to achieve that standard. But if you can go 4 or 5x, that's when you can get a very aspirational standard of living, not only in the country that you are at any given moment, let's say Mexico, just for the sake of a conversation. So you have a very aspirational standard of living for an average, even above average Mexican citizen, but even you can reach an aspirational standard of living even for US standards. I'm talking the top 10, top 5% regarding standard of living in the US. You can achieve it in a place like Mexico or another place in Latin America or Southeast Asia, a place like that, at a fraction of the cost. Now we have to explain yet again that in order to get the income for this particular purpose, it cannot come from those countries like in Latin America or Southeast Asia. It has to be either remote income, passive income, or a particular business that doesn't require your full presence. And that is key. Something that you can manage remotely. And that's basically, the key, the cornerstone in order to get that particular income. I've seen this many times, usually novice people on the expat world, offshore world, that they think that they can move or migrate to a country in Latin America or something like that, and with a local income, they can achieve this particular excellent standard of living. That is never going to happen, but the chances are almost zero, like 0.01% of probability. The only people that are able to achieve such standard of living with a job within Latin America are the expats, people that usually are hired from their home country, let's say the US or Canada, place like that. They have some operations. That particular company has some operations, let's say in Latin America or Southeast Asia, and they need someone like a middle management or something like that. Usually they are paid as they have a base salary similar to their home country, plus they get paid a premium just for taking the risk or just going to the friction of moving to another country. They work for a few years and they get plus income, and also the housing. Usually the company hires them top tier housing on those locations, usually very high middle class housing on such places, and that's why they have a very nice standard of living. Not because they did some arbitrage or something like that, it's just because they are on a great position, and some of those expats have a great standard of living. Some of them, they just are homesick, they can tolerate, it's just business. It is what it is. But also, most of the time, this particular kind of expat is going to give you the worst intel on such country because they live on an expat bubble. They go to the office, usually they only speak English, and the people around him from the locals have to speak English as well. And then when they go home, they go to, the nice expat bubble, go to the nice places, and very cool on that. But that cuts you from valuable information. And that's why usually the information and the intel that you get from this particular kind of expat is lackluster. Now, the second reason is regarding culture and lifestyle. Because something that happens in the US compared to a undeveloped country that, had the experience on both environments, is that life, gets too mechanical, too repetitive. Beautiful country, nice country, United States, but it is what it is, the same suburbia, the same Walmart, the same strip mall, things like that. And usually people, go crazy, like, for instance, in this movie with Michael Douglas or the Fight Club with Edward Norton, that, that's kind of, that's why he created Brad Pitt and created the Fight Club on the first place. So you get the point. And also, so you go to another place and I'm sorry for the cliche, but you find yourself, or you get, something different, something that you dream of, living by the beach. Maybe you cannot afford it in the US, you can afford it in Latin America, Southeast Asia, place like that. Or, for instance, if you're a single man, your dating experience is going to be way better in a developing nation. That's a given. There is no way it cannot be worse than the United States. Or, it's just fun. It's just the little things that make special doing this geo arbitrage, moving, at least trying something in another country. I'm not saying it's for everyone, because it certainly isn't. And creating this particular formula of balancing, business as usual, getting a good business, a good income, and so on, with the local experiences that usually, depending on the case, on your particular taste, they're going to be nicer, the beach or the ambience, the food, the music, the taste, the dynamic that you see on the street. And of course, you can combine it with, let's say, amenities from your home country. Also, because I understand, and regardless of where you are or who you are, uh, that's actually, a nice thing to have something close to home. And I understand sometimes. I've been there, done that many times. So the main point is that, yes, you see that particular tendency. It's not everyone, it's not for everyone, but actually it's a tendency that I think is going to continue. Of course, depending on the conditions on how you can generate passive income or remote income. That will be the key. But for the rest, I think the tendency is going to increase, every single year. Thank you for watching Continental Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. And if you want to work with us, continentalinsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.